Chicken and chacking and checking. We checked.
Can I have my lappity top?
No.
Oh, perfect. I didn't want it.
I just sold it on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh my God, you always do that. Just because you like the rush.
If something's not nailed down, baby, someone's on the way to come get it.
Honestly, sometimes I go through phases where that is true. like I literally will throw things out and like list them for free and just be like, somebody's coming.
Some of the best deals you can get on Facebook Marketplace is if you find like a really overstimulated mother, because then when you get to her house to pick up one thing, she'll be like, look around. Do you want anything else? Just take it.
Yeah, exactly.
That happened to me in a lady's garage. She was moving and I went there to buy lamps, and then like the light bulb was out and she was like, let me go find a light bulb because I want to make sure they work before I let you leave. And she goes, while I look, peruse around, anything else you see.
LOL.
And I was like, oh, you've reached that stage of moving. Like, you've done.
Reached it, yeah.
You're done.
You're done. You're done. Okay.
Oh my God, your sweatshirt is like...
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was you.
No, ACLU Kentucky made this for me. Shout out. I was doing stuff around the house this morning and I actually thought of the, you know, when in Elf, when Buddy is like, I did all this shit in the middle of the night and like...
We made a TikTok with that and it performed horribly. Do you remember that?
No. Oh, yes.
When we were in Vegas, where I literally woke up at like 10 a.m., which was like 1 p.m. my time. And I went into your hotel room and I literally looked like a gremlin. I was wearing like yoga shorts and no bra and like a men's t-shirt. And you had your hair fully curled. And you were like, I've had the best night of sleep I have had in years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was doing that this morning. I was like, that's literally that audio and clip from that movie. So we collaborate on the YouTubes. So half of you are hers and half of you are mine.
Yes.
We had a podcast together and you guys demand that we make content. So here we are.
I thought we liked doing this, but
We
excuse
do.
the fuck out of me.
No, we do.
Excuse the fuck out of me.
The thing is, we usually do it off camera.
Yes.
We are doing this on camera for you.
Yeah.
This normal relationship is for us, but
Yes.
welcome in. So anyways, this is whatever. She doesn't know Moms for Liberty.
Okay, stop saying that. Stop making me sound ignorant. I know Moms for Liberty is a right-wing group that really fucks with schools a lot and fucks with teachers a lot. I know that they're very organized, and I know that I am personally terrified of them. So I have chosen to not go near them with a 10-foot pole. So I do not know the logistics of their organization or their strategy. Because like some organizations have chapters. Each chapter is different. Some they aren't. Like, I don't know any of that. I don't know how they're doing it, but I do know that they're terrorizing all of us. That's all I know.
Yeah. So we're going to get into like everything. Because this has become like my Roman Empire recently, because I'm irritated that Moms for Liberty has posted their entire playbook on the internet, literally the internet, and held like trainings and shit. Oh no, I'm upset.
She gets coughing fits like a toddler when she gets upset.
I'm allergic to bullshit. So what am I saying? Well, they've published it online since 2021, and we have done really nothing to meaningfully combat this. And we've just been like, oh my God, these women, extremist terrorist group, and nothing we can do about it.
Well, that's what I feel like a lot of times the mistake that the left makes is like they will just write people off as crazy. Like they're like, oh my God, that group is crazy. Ignore them. And it's like, okay, but I fear no one else is ignoring them. So maybe we address this. Just a thought.
It's like just a thought. Fuck us, because we don't know anything. So, okay.
We know everything. And we're coming. And our Uber's on the way.
I remember when this like started happening, because it was when we were all suffering deeply from teaching during COVID, like when COVID happened.
They caught us when we were down.
They did. They really did.
Like, they're not doing well. We have an in.
Actually, yes, that's exactly what happened. So the origin story, it's interesting. You can see their retelling of the origin story and you can see our retelling of the origin story. The one that Moms for Liberty likes to tell is like, we're just a couple of moms, $500 in a dream, baby. Like
For liberty.
for justice.
Something very non-controversial.
Yeah.
An American liberty.
Yeah, we're just moms.
That's what I think the right does so well, is making things that are inherently evil sound so neutral.
Yeah. Yeah. And once the public catches on that the thing that they're pitching is evil, they just change the name. They're like, these fuckers. They don't know anything. And we're going to make sure of that by attacking the school system. They're never going to catch up. So there were, of course, this is in Florida.
As it is.
Yes, naturally. So there were 2 Florida school board members, Tina and Tiffany, and they started the group. They made a website.
Sorry.
It's like the 2 White Chicks movie.
Those aren't your real names. Like Erica Kirk made you in a lab, and they named you Tina and Tiffany.
So you're
not
actually...
even Christina, because that's like vaguely could be a different ethnicity.
So, well, listen. So Tiffany's last name is Justice.
No. Have you seen The Boys? No.
No.
It's like it's like what's the word I'm looking for? Like kind of like satire.
Yeah.
Parody is the word I'm looking for. It's like parody of America, and they have these like superheroes that are actually evil, but like everyone idealizes them because they have like good branding, and that is like the Boys' superhero ass name is Tiffany Justice.
I'm sorry. Like, yes, literally.
That sounds like a cartoon character.
And basically,
like she would be in a little skirt with like a Confederate flag. Like a, you know what I'm saying?
And speaking of the Confederate flag outfit, I'm shocked that UFC's Octagon Girls or whatever the fuck didn't have a Confederate flag themed get up.
And can I say, they looked so trashy.
Yeah.
And you know me.
Yeah.
I love a slutty outfit.
Yes.
I love a slutty outfit. If UFC wasn't Republican, that would actually be my dream job.
I mean,
to just walk around a ring and look hot and watch men beat the shit out of each other is an actual dream job. Like, I quite literally can't think of a better job.
You were made for that.
And there are so many good outfits they could be wearing. That's how you know they have no gay people on their team, because of the fabric choices.
Yeah. This sparkly, like satiny spandex
Like, it's the
situation.
Halloween costume material. A gay person would never allow that. Like, imagine a left-wing UFC where we had like Christian Siriano, that guy that won Project Runway.
Oh my God.
Imagine how incredible the ring girls would look if we had a gay UFC. Oh my
Write that down. Literally. So
Tiffany Justice. What the fuck did she do?
Yeah. So, okay. They had a $500 investment, a website, and they say a box of T-shirts that like started it all. They had chapters in Florida and New York and Maryland within weeks, and they ended 2021 with 165 chapters in 33 states, 70,000 members, and won in 56 different school board races. Allegedly, they say. Okay.
What was their point? Like, was there like a specific event that made them want to form this?
Yeah, here we go. So the other thing I want you to keep in mind is that a lot of the reporting that they don't have control over talks about their original 3rd co-founder, Bridget, who left. They don't like to talk about her, and we'll tell you all about that. So they had a formula. They wanted to build county by county chapters. They targeted school board races, which are some of the lowest turnout races ever.
And lowest turnout on the candidates, because a lot of them are running unopposed.
Yeah, like 80% at this time or something was crazy, like unopposed.
Yeah.
So it means like they can just sit in their seat, and then election season comes up and they're like, anybody want to run against Jeff over here? And it's like, no, okay.
And it also, like, they love running unopposed because then you don't have to spend any money. And if you're running unopposed, it's better to actually not campaign.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you campaign, then some people are going to be like, I don't like that guy, and might oppose you.
And people also don't know what the fuck's going on at school board races.
No.
They have no idea what's happening. So,
and most people don't even really know how a school board, like, what they do.
Right. No, they don't. And so they picked just like really emotionally reactive things, and they capitalized on the fear that parents have that their kids aren't doing well or that something is harming them. And it was conveniently during COVID when they sprung up because like there's a
where a lot of people weren't doing well and were being actively harmed. So pretty good time for that strategy.
Yeah, they were like, you know, and little Johnny is wearing a mask and I can't see his beautiful smile. Remember that shit?
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So
I forgot that some of the anti-maskers, it wasn't even like COVID's not real. It was like, how are they going to connect emotionally?
Yeah.
Like,
so that was
the face shields.
Oh my God.
Did those work?
Forget. No. I mean, I will never forget the whole, it was horrible. It was crazy. And that was the first thing they capitalized on was mask bans in schools.
I didn't wear my face shield because it was giving me acne. Now I feel safe to admit it.
Well, you were also in Florida. They were like, have fun in there. Bye. Like
I was wearing my probably knockoff fake N95 mask and they brought me that fuck ass shield with the foam. And I said, get out.
Well, you know what? I remember them using that, trying to get us to use that when we were teaching phonics, so because you need to see the mouth shape. But like, it was crazy.
The glare.
Oh my God, I know. The California thing was like I was in my room sweating and trying to get all of my desks, all 27 of my kids' desks, like a yardstick apart on every side. And an administrator literally came in and goes, "Baby, it's not going to fit. And I was like, but this is the rules that you gave me," which is the same thing that I said in the beginning of the year when they said you have to teach an hour and a half of reading and science and social studies and math every single day. And I was like, but we don't have an hour and a half for each. We don't have time for all of that. And they were like, yeah, you don't. Same thing.
I love how all of us have a slightly different version of the desk story where your administrator said maybe they're not going to fit. I had the same thing. They did not fit. And they told us, they didn't even give us yardsticks. This is Florida. They said the floor tiles are 12 inches. So use that to measure. And I was like, and they should be 3 feet apart. And I said, I thought it was 6. And they said, no, it's 3 now. And I said, oh, okay. And then I tried to do that. And my room had like a weird like bump out thing from a hallway. You know, some rooms are just awkwardly shaped. And so like 2 desks should have gone there, but because there was a literal wall, they could not. And I was like, hey, mine don't fit with the rule. And they were like, we measured, they do. And I was like, no, my room has the bump out. So like and if
they were like, shh, shh, shh.
And like they were right. Other rooms that were my size without the bump outs, it would have fit. But half of us had these bump outs because they had like alcoves in the hallway. And I was like, no, it like because of the bump out. And they said, no, we took the school floor plan to the meeting and they assured us it fit. So please make sure your room is compliant.
Yeah. They're like,
and I was like,
shut up.
Yeah.
And that's the new teachers get very confused by that. And everybody else knows that's them being like, it fits. And you need to shut up before I pink slip you. Like,
shut up about the sun. Shut up about the sun.
God, we talk in a lot of TikTok audios. I'm not stopping. So you guys got to get up to speed.
The meanest thing anyone on the internet has ever said to me that they meant as like a joke and in a nice way, but it's my person, like multiple people have sent this to me and it makes me very angry every time, is Jonah Hill in some movie where he goes, sick references, bro. I love your references. If you send me that, I hate you.
Yeah, I hate you too, just on principle of the matter. So they are picking like these really like emotionally charged things, and it makes like the bigoted suburb mommies feel like they're very brave and like they're part of a national uprising. They're not just like
Well, it's
oppressed.
also validating because most of these women's husbands have no emotional intelligence and don't validate them for anything ever and are awful. So then when you have this other group of women being like, you're so right, diva, I'm scared too. I can see where it's like really easy to get like snapped into that and sucked in and locked in and crazy.
Yeah. They're patriots. So anyways, the actual origin story is first the mask mandates, obviously. They were like very in lockstep with Ron DeSantis on all of this stuff.
His fuck ass kitten heels.
And he just, his fuck ass kitten heels. And he literally like, they just were so ripe for Republican exploitation. I'll tell you everything in a second. But like after the masks thing, it was critical race theory, which is the 2021 version of DEI critiques. It's the same exact conversation, different mechanism.
I love when people bring up critical race theory because I'm like, beloved, I teach at a high school where the average reading level is 6th grade.
I know.
Like, do you really think we're there? Do you really think we're there?
I mean, it's wild. And when it kind of became, again, in the public discourse, like that's not a thing that's being done in schools. They were like, well, DEI, we'll pick something else. I mean, they went after social emotional learning. I mean, at one point, Moms for Liberty, I'll put this clip here, but you may have seen this. Moms for Liberty was like calling empathy a Trojan horse and that it's a bad thing to teach empathy.
So you're with Moms for Liberty. So you're telling me there's a new threat besides gender ideology, besides critical race theory. What's this third one?
So social emotional learning is basically the Trojan horse that allows critical race theory, that allows the critical queer theory, teaching our kids how to feel, teaching them about their feeling. Rather than parents paying for a therapist for their children, they let the teachers do it at school.
They talk about their feelings?
They talk about their feelings all the time, or they'll say, it's called formative conversations, and they'll say, so how can we show empathy? Let's say that we have...
So teaching, so empathy?
Okay, so if the word, let's say they have a word of the week, and the word of the week at my child's school was empathy. And the teacher started talking, how can we show empathy? And then she says, if you have a friend that has 2 moms, how can you have empathy? Well, my child comes home and says, Mom, there can be 2 moms. You know, and then these conversations
Folks, is it evil when children care about other people?
Like, could it be? And these people are alleging to be Christians. I can't think of anything less not like
Jesus would not fuck with you.
Literally,
I feel
no.
confident saying that.
Yeah,
and
Jesus
on the
hates
critical
people.
race theory, because the truth is important to me, I'm not going to stand up here and be like, no classroom in America K-12 is doing critical race theory. It's not happening. Because I have seen critical race theory in public schools. You want to know where I've seen it? In AP level history classes for 17 and 18-year-olds where they signed up for the class.
Yeah, it's like it's ridiculous.
Call me a radical. I think that's appropriate curriculum.
Yeah,
Like,
they should be thinking critically about race. Matter of fact.
So you mean to tell me in the college level African American studies class they're talking about race?
And literally,
Who would have thunk?
I know. It was so funny watching Linda McMahon flounder at the hearings when she was being like interrogated about whether she would become the Secretary of Education. People asked her that and she was like, I need to look into that. And they were like, what? You need to look into what?
So I'm going to hit it with a googs.
Yeah.
Pause.
Literally, that's her like go-to.
It's like when people represent themselves in court and they keep calling for a recess to go look stuff up on ChatGPT in the bathroom.
Exactly. And now she just literally has a person that sits next to her handing her cue cards like throughout her hearings. It's crazy. But okay, so then we know about Don't Say Gay in Florida. That was their like big moment because it was the parental rights and education law. And this is March 2022. So they've been around for like over a year, whatever. And it gave them this like legislative model and proof of concept because you could take parental rights, right? And you could attach it to the fear that they've already manufactured. And they can say that there's like this secrecy and indoctrination, and they can justify policies that restrict what teachers say and then just entire groups of people in general. It's doing the thing with me. I love you. Enjoy. There's a bug. If you hear it in my microphone, it's just sharing its opinion. But it landed on my microphone. It didn't like that. Sorry, I spit at you. Jesus, we're having bug problems recently.
It's almost like we're in a structure that you built.
We're in a shed.
Why the fuck is there a bug in my outside?
Literally. Somebody once, I was on a meeting, they were like, "You're not outside." I was like, "I'm outside."
You're like, I'm actually camping. I don't know if you knew.
So anyways, so the Don't Say Gay bill was like their big moment, right? And then of course,
and what was that again? That like we weren't allowed to talk to kids at all.
Essentially,
it was like if a kid is gay, you're not allowed to speak on it.
It was the first time I explained what the chilling effect was because it was the first time I had to like really break that down for people because it's like something so vague they can put it into law and then the vagueness does all the work. So like,
oh, and it was like, if you're gay, you're not allowed, and if you're a gay teacher, you're not allowed to like come out to your students.
And
like
they
people
didn't.
were going after like the family photos in classrooms and stuff. This is ringing a bell. This is very 2021 core.
The official bill says that the law prohibits classroom discussion of sexual orientation or gender identity in certain grade levels, and it created a parent notification and lawsuit mechanism. But it was so vague that it was literally like, okay, well, what about books? Or like, where's the line? Is it just representation, or is it teaching
Right.
people about
and then
things?
this is when they like had to shut down libraries and like go through every individual book.
And libs of TikTok, which sounds like it would be somebody on our side. It's not.
That's what I'm saying. Does Moms for Liberty, are they like in cahoots with Libs of TikTok?
They're all in cahoots.
That's what I thought.
Like, they are all BFF forever.
Now, not so much. But in 2021, when I tell you I would lay awake at night thinking about
Me too.
Libs of TikTok, that's not normal.
No.
And I
she's
don't
a
think I'm the
terrorist.
one being not normal. Like, I think my fear was warranted. Like, I was not being crazy. Because some of my friends are trying to be like, that's never going to happen. And I was like, I know multiple people who have had people show up to their school over this.
Yep. Oh my God. They were calling in bomb threats to a children's hospital because Chaya said that it was doing gender reassignment surgeries on kids.
And like,
And she was like, I can't control what my followers do. Literally.
That's like, that is a big part of why, not as much now, but I would say like from like 2020 when I started creating really until like 2025, I was so psycho. Like no one can know where I live. No one can know what my name is. No one can know
That's
where
why
I
we
teach.
both
No
have
one can do
pseudonyms.
anything. Like, because like, I don't know how to say this not bad, so I'm just gonna say it. Like, I work in a predominantly Black school that's in a working class like community of very normal people who are like not terminally online. And I was like, I simply cannot bring this garbage here.
Right.
Like, we are a normal community of normal people. Like, all of our parents are very normal. Like,
Yeah.
they're just like very reasonable people.
Yeah.
So I was like, I cannot bring this like psychopath into this like community of color to just like terrorize all of these families.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally why we both have pseudonyms. That's why neither of us initially used our names.
Originally, before I was Miss Redacted, I was Hey Bitch, It's Me 123. But
My favorite lore. I was Rodent Girl 69. Moving on. I'm not telling you that lore. Look it up. Anyways.
so they're in cahoots with the Libs of
They're in
TikTok.
cahoots, whatever. So, when we go back to like their bootstrap origins, being like, it's just $500 and a box of t-shirts and a dream, baby. So AP looked at their finances and found that in 2022, so when
That is the Associated Press, not the Advanced Placement Student Organization. They do not do that.
No. So the year that the Don't Say Gay bill was a thing, big conversation, 2022, Moms for Liberty's revenue jumped to $2.1 million, driven mostly by contributions and grants, but there were some very large, quote, anonymous gifts. Nonprofit records were compiled by ProPublica, and they show it climbing. Their revenue climbed to $5.8 million by 2024.
Are they a nonprofit?
I think so.
What's their like? I know they're like.
I think they
there's,
have
like,
different things.
501c4, C3, like different ones mean different things. I don't really know what it is.
They have a PAC,
Okay.
and then they have a 501c4.
Got it. And a lot of these big organizations own multiple things. A lot of them have a nonprofit and an LLC and a PAC. Like a lot of them, it's like an umbrella for multiple orgs.
Yeah. So we have the PAC side, and we have, which is Political Action Committee money, and then we also have the whatever side. So
I want to know if anyone's like donating to them, because we all know that like these like large right wing groups are giving them millions of dollars, but I wonder how many people are like, you know what, $10 to Moms for Liberty. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder what their small donor ratios are.
I don't know.
Probably
We
not
should look
big. I
that
can't
up.
imagine most people like have money to spare to give to them per se.
Okay. Yes, exactly. Like who's just grassroots supporting these?
Yeah,
freaks?
that's what, like I think like it's mostly big money. Like I
Yeah.
think their grassroots is like the same way like Phyllis Schlafly did, is like getting people to be annoying, not so much getting people to give them money.
100%. And I always say that these people are never not annoying, and I think that is one thing we can learn from them. So anyways, so their numbers, though, their money numbers are self-reported. So that's the tricky thing, because they're claiming in 2025, they say they had like over 300 chapters and more than 130,000 members. But Brookings did an independent look at them in 2023, and it estimated around 103,000 Facebook group members associated with 278 chapters. So there's like a definite gap in like what they think constitutes a chapter and like their influence. And Turning Point does the same thing with their like Stupid America School Club things.
Yeah.
Like we just found out that they're also inflating their numbers. So I'm really interested in like, they can just be very, very loud and say whatever numbers they want to say to make their influence look like insurmountable. There's nothing you can do to combat them because they're just so huge, is what they want you to think.
I bet what they're doing, I think it was Turning Point, but I'm not 100% sure. For context, I was in college in like 2016, 2017, like around that time, like pre-COVID, post-Trump era. And one thing that me and my friend noticed, I have a friend, love her to death. She's like super leftist now, but when we first met, she like was just like, I don't know. So she goes, we were in college, and she goes, I'm going to go to every single political group's meetings and just see what's up.
Yeah.
Which I deeply respect.
Yeah.
Because she realized like, oh, a lot of what my family told me isn't true. I don't know anything. So what she noticed is that the Republican and the Turning Point ones had crazy good food, and they would like advertise with food and get all these college kids to show up to the meeting, but that weren't actually engaged in the org. They would just come pick up their food and leave. And I think they were using that to inflate their numbers. And that's what I peeped. Oh, the Republicans are putting money into these college groups. And then I was at like the fucking FSU National Organization of Women, where we have like one Jolly Rancher. Like,
Yeah, it's wild. The like
and I would
difference.
surmise they're doing the same thing with this. Like, I think they might be hosting events or like these Facebook things just to get someone to like sign up for an email list. And then they're acting like that person is a full-fledged, committed, passionate member. When in reality, they probably just like were in passing, saw something that intrigued them.
And the Republican Party itself did like they fawned over this group. I mean, so
Oh, I'm sure.
again, by 2022, there were Republican governors showing up next to Moms for Liberty at signing ceremonies for culture war bills. They were inviting them to places so that Moms for Liberty were in their stupid fucking T-shirts at these signing bills. We have Iowa's ban on transgender girls in girls' sports. Florida's expansion of parental control over what schools can teach. Heritage Action is talking about the Moms for Liberty moms as like the Tea Party. I mean, like it was just like really crazy. And by 2023, you have like the group has a summit. So it's like a big, Turning Point-esque summit. Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, and Nikki Haley were all there buttering their biscuit so that they could like schmooze. They were speaking, whatever. And they have real substantial influence in that the GOP. Like, it's crazy. We have Tina. Was it Tina Descovich? Hang on.
You said Tina was
Tina
one of-
Descovich. Ron DeSantis actually like appointed Tina Descovich to a position. What was it?
Oh. And people say Ron DeSantis hates women.
Yes.
Checkmate. He
Well,
hired one.
He did. He appointed her to the Florida's Commission on Ethics.
That's kind of an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Florida's Commission on Ethics. And y'all know I love Florida down bad. Like, I love Florida. Ethics. Come on.
Ron DeSantis, Kitten Heel McGee over there. And then last year, 2025, Heritage Foundation of Project 2025 fame announced that Tiffany Justice was joining as
Not
a
a real
visiting
person.
fellow.
This woman has killed people, and this is a fake. Like, she is in witness protection. I'm sorry. This is not a real person.
She joined them as a visiting fellow to lead a parental rights initiative, which of course it's parental rights for them, not for us. Nobody like us is getting parental rights
No.
from Moms for Liberty. No. It is just parental rights for them. And the local control is only a thing if you are deeply invested in whatever culture war bullshit they're doing. I mean, it's wild.
Local control for me and not for thee. Mm-hmm. They said, oh, when we meant local control, we meant that our location would control everyone's location. That's what we were referring to.
Exactly.
Common misconception.
So after the parental rights initiative appointment. 6 months later, Tiffany Justice became Heritage Action's executive vice president. And she drove a $3 million get out the vote effort in battleground states to help elect Donald Trump to his second term. So this is what they're calling grassroots. This is their definition of grassroots. They literally call it that, like a grassroots rising of moms. And it's not. It's like completely propped up. And this has, again, been literally published online for years and years. And we just are like, oh my God.
Those bitches are crazy.
Designate them as a terrorist organization and don't look that direction. But it's like they're doing so. They clearly know that this whole like return education to the states, local control shit is bullshit. Because if it was, they wouldn't have started it this way. They wouldn't be like using school board races to propel themselves into national fucking acclaim. Like, hello? It's crazy. So,
is this okay? So the way they pick their candidates, is it like a chicken or an egg? Like, do they find an existing candidate and they're like, we own you now? Or do they like, oh, that's an open seat, let's get one of our people? Or do they do both?
Both. They do both. So they have also, it's funny, every time I make a video on this, people are like, why would I vote for the Moms for Liberty endorsed candidate? And I'm like, no, critical thinking, God damn it. They have a website that you can literally go look and see who their endorsed candidates are so that you can vote against them in the races. Like you can avoid those ones like the plague, but you can go and see, because we don't have the opposite of that. We don't have a list of like, these are the not endorsed candidates, but like a lot of school board races are nonpartisan. So the big issue too is that a lot of times you'll see, I mean, an uninformed voter will see something like, we believe in protecting girls. We believe in like teaching kids how to think, not what to think. They'll put that in like the candidate description, and it's a nonpartisan race. So you don't see the critical piece of information if they're Democratic or Republican. And if you're not going to like do deeper dives on that, it's like you'll vote maybe for the wrong side. You know?
This is one thing that I think the right is so good at that the left is like so far behind, it's not even funny, is really telling people who to vote for, not in like a bad way, but just in like a making information easily accessible. Did I tell you about the mental breakdown I had a couple weeks ago over the Georgia primary?
No.
So I'm trying to be better about this, but I'm just not very good at it. I'm really good at being like civically engaged, but I'm not great at doing it as a creator because I procrastinate and do it last minute. So then I don't have the time to like tell people about it, and I'm trying to be better about it because it really, like the last Georgia primary, it kind of came to a head. The primary did not really go the way that I wanted it to. And I was like filling out my little sample ballot. Also in Georgia, this is a great example of the right lying. You're not allowed to bring a phone into the polling place. Like if it's in your pocket, they're not going to say anything, but you're not allowed to take it out. So you can't look anything up while you're there. So they say it's for election security, but I think it's to just make it harder to be an informed voter personally.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I print so like even you can't even put like, oh, I made a note on my phone of who I'm going to vote for. You literally cannot touch your phone while you're voting. I did it once and they like took my ballot and I had to like start the whole process over. I had to go back outside and like do my own thing. They were nice. They gave me a piece of paper so I could write it down and stuff, but it was just annoying. So this last primary that was a couple weeks ago, I like print my little ballot. I start looking everyone up. And of course, for the right, Moms for Liberty and all these other groups have like a nice little gorgeous list that explains everything. You can go check. It took me 2.5 hours of Googling and perusing to look up all the candidates on my Democratic primary ballot. And I freaked out and I was like, oh, no one's going to do this.
Right.
I was like, this was so much work. A lot of the candidates' websites are garbage, and I'm sorry if you can't put together a decent website, no matter how small your race is. Like that to me is a red flag. I put together a decent website, and so that's what I feel like they're so good at, is just like really directing people and making information accessible to people so that they vote for these candidates. When on the left, we're expecting our like voters to do so much legwork that's just not realistic. Like all in all, voting in this primary took me probably 5 hours when you account it for like the research, the getting there, all the stuff. And I just like, I still voted and did it, but I was like, none of these amazing candidates are going to win this.
Right.
because there were a lot of really good candidates on the Georgia ballot that I had not heard from at all. I had not seen at all. A couple of them I had because Linz DeFranco is awesome and told me about a few people. But it was just so much work to get information about these people. And it's just not that way on the Republican side. Like, they make very clear voter guides. And like, especially in a primary, my ballot was like 5 pages long.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And we had like 61 candidates here for California governor. And it's just like 2,000 of them voted for somebody like named God and Country something. It's like, wait.
Like, why'd you even drive there to the, like, no offense. Like, you do have the right to vote and whatever. But like, when I see, or when people like wrote in like Harambe, I'm like.
I know. 28,000 people voted for Eric Swalwell, who dropped out. And then we have Living for God and Country, independent, 2,188 people voted for him.
Maybe that's the strategy, is if you want to run for something, you just legally change your name.
Yeah.
To something like.
Perfect.
I'm going to legally change my name to the woke agenda.
I love that. The woke mob, here they come. So to your point, like they like are, these candidate guides are part of the thing from the beginning. I mean, candidates, they have them really angry. Then they have candidates that sign their pledge. They use their campaign materials. They seek local chapter endorsement. They get promoted to chapter members, and they get PAC or affiliated support from, they get money. And it doesn't mean that like they're choosing every candidate by hand, but even the ones that they don't recruit and they don't train, they still have the pipeline available to them on the website. And you can literally run your entire race with the materials that they have for you.
It's like very plug and play. It's kind of like when you buy something on Teachers Pay Teachers, and it's like the link is here, the worksheet's here, boom, it's here, and you can just like boom, boom, boom. That's what they're doing for candidates. Like, it's like, here's branding, here's talking points, here's this, here's emails, here's templates.
And I'm going to give you some of their most insane quotes to understand like the branding of it. The craziest one was in 2023. If you follow me, you might remember me freaking the freak out about this. The Indiana Moms for Liberty chapter put a Hitler quote on the front page of its newsletter. He alone who owns the youth gains the future. Tiffany Justice defended the chapter at the National Summit, saying, one of our moms in a newsletter quotes Hitler. I stand with that mom.
You couldn't even like give some bullshit statement being like it was for historical purposes. Like, you couldn't even.
And everybody clapped. So anyways, there was that
like
one.
It wasn't even like we use that quote to educate why propaganda is so dangerous. Like, you couldn't even like.
And I'm sure they didn't like put quote by Hitler. Like, they just were.
The Hitler.
Yeah, the one.
Yep, that one.
In New Hampshire, a Moms for Liberty chapter offered $500 a teacher bounty. They didn't call it that, but they said it's for $500 for the person that first catches a public school teacher breaking this law. And that's in response to the anti-divisive concepts law. Yikes, because that's, again, very vague and leaves the door open for whatever you want. And then
I wonder if I reported myself, if I could get the $500.
You can find out. So they're talking about they're fighting for the survival of America. They say we can't let corrupt teachers' unions indoctrinate our precious children into hating and harming themselves and their country. So they also say we don't co-parent with the government, which is very common. You've probably heard that one.
I'm so sorry. That y'all nailed that one. That was good.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm sorry. Because again, they're using these emotional words, and co-parenting is something that has caused so much stress for so many people. So like, yeah, that is, to us, it's partisan.
Right.
To someone who does not know about these things, that's very nonpartisan and very, like, that would be so easy. The amount of people I know that fucking hate the person they have to co-parent with so goddamn much. If you have to communicate with your co-parent through one of those apps, I'm sending love your way, and these people are coming after you.
Yes. And, they use very, again, the inflammatory language. So many people have been groomed and suffered sexual, like, abuse as a child or adult or whatever. So using words like groom, indoctrinate, target, like they are literally opening the door for like teachers and any gay person ever to be called like a pedophile. And it's deliberate and it's inflammatory and it's horrible. And
then these are the same people that'll go turn around and defend a 18-year-old girl marrying a 29-year-old man.
Absolutely.
They're like, no. When they do it that way, it's biblical.
There was a leaked audio from Arkansas. Where, yes, the chapter's head of communications, Missy Bach, complained about librarians saying, I'm telling you, any mental issues, they would all be, I'm telling you, if I was any mental issues, they would all be plowed down with a freaking gun by now.
Oh.
About librarians, saying that if she was just a little more cracked in the head, she would shoot them.
Which you have to be deeply cracked in the head to say that. Mm-hmm. To think it and then to admit it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it is wild, wild, wild. So this is literally official branding that they use, that they recruit with, that they win elections with, that they get money with.
So who's funding them? Do we know or unclear?
It's unclear. It's like a lot of, here, let me see if I can pull it up.
I'm still stuck on empathy as a Trojan horse. Like,
I know.
How fucking evil do you have to be like, children should not care about other people?
So, and now we're going to pivot into drama rumorland about their founders.
My favorite.
Okay, I know you'd be excited. So this is like the B plot, but I think the reason that I'm very, very interested in things that have been reported or rumored about the women in charge is that they're so holier than thou. They're waging a war. They're patriots. Like they have a lot of shit to say about everybody else except their own shit. So we're going to talk about that. So if you remember the original third co-founder, Bridget, in reporting, she is widely described as a Moms for Liberty co-founder or original co-founder. But right now, most of the documents about the founding of Moms for Liberty wipe her. She was a Sarasota County school board member, a DeSantis ally, and a champion of Don't Say Gay. So she's a national figure of conservative family values, right?
She cheated, didn't she?
Oh, in 2023, Bridget's husband, Christian, who was the chair of the National Republican Party, who is the chair of the Republican Party in Florida, was accused by a woman of rape.
Likely thing for the chair of the Republican Party of Florida to be accused of. Go on.
Tale as old as time. According to news accounts, based on the police report, the woman and Becky and her husband Christian had planned a consensual threesome. And when Bridget couldn't attend...
Bridget had a prior engagement. Do we know what it was?
I don't know. But they had... The woman...
That should be a different threesome.
Right? The woman did say that they all had hooked up before. So this was like not a first time thing. But that man took what he wanted anyways. Allegedly.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So this is the Don't Say Gay champion, the anti-LGBTQI plus sanctity of nuclear family shit.
I've said this from the beginning, and you all know me. Let your free flag fly. Like, do whatever you want. All these people that are obsessed with purity culture are the biggest freaks in the sheets, and all of it is projection because they were taught that they could not be sexual beings. Like, they were taught that sex is bad and sex is evil, and so they hate themselves so deeply for their very normal human desires. Mm-hmm. So then they take it out on the rest of us. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of them actually don't have normal human desires. They're overt predators.
Yep.
Like, I would say, like, a lot of these people, best case, it's like they have normal human desires and they feel shame for that, so they want to police everybody else. And, like, worst case, they are literal predators and they're doing it as, like, a deflection for their own behavior.
Yeah. And, like, I don't like when people, honestly, one of the things that upsets me about like what happens around these like Republican conventions is people will be like, Grindr's gonna crash, and it turns into like this meme or this joke.
Yeah.
But it enrages me that these are people who terrorize the gay community, terrorize teachers for like being who they are, for having a fucking marriage to a person that is like their same gender or whatever. Like the things that they have done to people are so cruel and awful, and then they get to enjoy going on Grindr and
Yeah.
going and having gay sex and hooking up, having a threesome with a woman.
You don't deserve gay sex.
You don't. You don't deserve any kind of companionship. You should rot in a hole. Like, I swear to God, it makes me so mad that Becky like rained terror on people, and then she was banging a lady, like with her husband. Like, it's crazy.
So is that why they like erased her from everything?
Yes. Immediately, the Sarasota School Board voted to call her to resign, and then the Florida Republicans pushed Christian out as the state party chair. And the criminal case of Christian did not end at a conviction. There's no charges at all. So, you know, that happens all the time in sexual assault cases.
I think it's like 97%.
Yeah.
There's no charges.
I didn't report my assault to the police. So I'm not here to say that's a judgment of whatever at all. I'm just letting you know for legal reasons, because I have to say that. But
Well, it's like, I was talking about this with someone recently. I think the way that our horrible justice system handles like sexual crimes needs to be completely overhauled, because the normal court proceedings, I think, just don't really work for these types of crimes. And to get like a lawyery perspective on it, I saw like a lawyer did a talk when I was in college about this. So they said it is by far the hardest crime to prosecute, because it often happens in private.
yeah, well,
And like that makes it so impossible. Like, think about all the things in court you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Is so hard to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt, that I just feel like the way our justice system is set up, it's just not effective for prosecuting those crimes.
yeah. And in January 2024, AP reported that police decided they couldn't charge Christian with rape because the recorded encounter appeared to have been consensual. There was a recording. But they did pursue a possible voyeurism charge over whether he'd gotten that video with the woman's consent or not. But in March 2024, prosecutors declined that charge too. So he was not charged, but we just talked about a lot of stuff.
And this is the thing
That's
with
relevant to that.
prosecutors with these crimes. Prosecutors' job is to like prosecute criminals. They only have so much bandwidth, so they do not like to pursue a case that they are not going to win, because it's using court resources that could be dedicated toward a case where they are going to win. Because I have seen prosecutors talk about this, and it seems like a very hard job.
Yeah.
And it seems like, and a lot of times the victim has no say on if the charges are pursued or not. It is up to the prosecutor, and it is up to the district attorney's office or whoever, depends like the jurisdictions and how it works where you are. But I feel a lot of empathy for the prosecutors in that scenario, because you only have so many hours in a day. You only have so much staff. You only have so many resources and so much money. And a lot of them are very underfunded. And a lot of these crimes do not get the resources within a department that they need. Like, it'll have one detective for an entire county who's in charge of all sexual crimes. So they have to decide, like, oh, okay, I have these two cases. This one's really strong and this one's really weak. If your goal as a prosecutor is to put predators behind bars, which we all know how we feel about the prison system, but if your goal as a prosecutor is to get predators off the street, that seems like a horrible position to be in. So even though like the justice system is awful, I feel bad for a lot of the individual prosecutors in it. A lot of them are horrible, but some of them I think are trying to do good work.
Yes. And I have been calling Bridget Becky this whole time. Her name's Bridget.
I had put that together,
Sorry.
I think. It's okay.
She means so little to me. I fear I couldn't get it right. Anyways, so okay. So she is, if you're wondering, back as the chair of the Sarasota School Board.
Is she divorced or did they work it out?
I'm pretty sure she's. Let's find out.
Asking the real questions over here. Because it's shocking how many of them are like, we went to faith-based counseling and now our marriage is better than ever and all of you are crazy.
Oh my God. I actually don't know. But police records do show that Bridget directed her husband to look for women that they were both interested in, send her pictures, and decide if they were going to hook up or not.
And see, if you were like a normal person that didn't terrorize everyone else, I like wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Like if you were just like, Bridget, if you were just like, I'm a marketing assistant at a plumbing company and I want to get my freak on this weekend.
Yeah.
Cool. You and your husband can go out and look for a third.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, you can't do that while you're also being like, and we should. Get rid of every lesbian in this nation.
It's just like the self-hatred that leaks into other people's business is so disgusting to me. So there is a lot of people right now are resigning from Moms for Liberty leadership because it's like a shit show, which of course it's a shit show. Hello. And they're like, wow, this whole org has really shifted to pandering to Donald Trump. And it's like, honey, did you just
Baby,
hit
that was
your
the
head?
point the whole time.
Yes. So-
Again, for us talking in memes, it's the meme of the astronaut with like the gun behind him, and he's like, always was.
Oh my God. I don't know that one. You
Oh my
know
God.
Obscure.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So it's like an
tell them the
astronaut who
truth.
sees the world and is like, oh my God, it was this. And then the other astronaut's killing him, being like, it always was.
Little pivot before the end. 2 Moms for Liberty Kentucky chapter chairs were removed from leadership after they posed in their Moms for Liberty shirts with Proud Boys. So
This is not what I thought you were going to say.
there is some overlap, obviously, and I don't think they're mad about the overlap. I think they're mad about the bad PR that comes from wearing your T-shirt. It's
said,
like your
guys.
sorority letters or whatever. They're like,
Oh,
take
if, like
that
if
shit
you're
off.
drinking, you can't have sorority gear on.
It's like if you're going to pose with Proud Boys, take the Moms for Liberty shirt off first, because we know you're married to them, so it's hard to not get pictures.
Like, guys, no Moms for Liberty in the family Christmas photo. We
Yeah.
said if there's Nazis in the photo, take the T-shirt off, even if you're married to them.
Just use your AR-15s, and it conveys the same message. Like you don't need the shirt.
And you know the Moms for Liberty Christmas photo shoots are always the ones with like duct tape over all the girls' mouths, where it's like a Santa's wish. You know that that's the kind of photo shoots they're doing.
100%.
I thought what you were gonna say. Mine is funnier, but not as bad as the neo-Nazi Proud Boy people. I thought you were gonna say it was like sexy, like they like got drunk one night and they were like wearing their Moms for Liberty shirts and like thongs or something. Like I thought you were gonna say something like fun.
I wish.
Like I thought you were gonna be like, oh, they were being too sexy.
And they're too sexy to handle. No.
Fuck, that would have been so much cooler.
Sorry.
It's because like I forgot they were the biggest fucking losers ever for a second.
And of course, the Publix Harris that funded January 6th, basically that rally, she of course gave Moms for Liberty money too. She was like, I love you, I love Proud Boys, I love Donald Trump and violence. So whatever. There's so much more drama. Basically, these people are just, their hands are not clean. They are not chill. Now that they are in national power, this is when, as we were saying, they started to leave. People are stepping away. They're like, there's a lot of scandal. There's a lot of drama. They're losing local races and buying into national ones. So when I first reported on this Moms for Liberty, how they did in 2024, they did pretty bad. They are not.
Yeah.
There was initially a viral post that said that they won no races, which isn't true. They won a very small amount of races. And I think that this, to me, gives me hope that if we just push back a little harder, team, that we can get these people to fuck like into obscurity.
Because it does seem a little bit like a house of cards. Like it looks very big and it looks very powerful, but then when you actually start like picking it apart, it's really just a bunch of lame bitches and their loser husbands.
Literally,
at the end of the day.
Exactly. And the only thing that concerns me is that it seems like they have moved on to bigger races. Like I said earlier, they spent millions of dollars in battleground states to help elect Donald Trump. They are moving into big positions at big think tanks and orgs. And that concerns me because if they leave the school boards for the most part, they are going elsewhere. They have amassed a lot of power.
And I think people really underestimate how important like an email list is. Like what we were saying about their Facebook groups, like, yes, a lot of the people in those groups are not devoted members, but like those lists and like people pay big money to get those lists. I don't really know how that works, but I know it's always like if you have, I know on the creator side, I know if creators have large like email list or large followings that are on some kind of like subscription or email, everyone like pariahs around them. Like they're like, we want those emails.
And I have been told multiple times to craft a list of my connections and sell it because they buy it for like 5 figures at a time.
Yeah.
And people get really pissed. And I didn't know what anybody was talking about, but there are people who will give away connections for free or give away lists for free. And it turns into like people yelling at each other because you're fucking with somebody's money. I've learned so much just from being in proximity to people who do this. And I'm like, emails? But what the other thing is, inside tea, is that it's not anymore just emails. It's also everybody's numbers.
That's what I was going to say. It's the text.
No, the numbers of their social media followings. They will amass.
Oh, okay.
So the idea is you get a cohort of creators together, and instead of getting their emails to sell to orgs, you're doing that, but you're also like,
you're being like, this person has 200K. This person
Anybody-
has 800K. We have access to 1.9 million people.
it's a cumulative lump, and it's really lucrative for funders right now to be like, you're going to get so many eyeballs. And I don't agree with that. I don't think it's the best way to impact things. I think that's going to fizzle out and be proven to be another stupid ass consulting class decision. Sorry to be inside baseball, but I think that's a really
It
not
also
lasting
reminds me, like, it's very corporate-y of, like, the fake numbers game where, like, if you have 10 creators, I don't think it's an accurate number to just add up all of their followers because there are a lot of overlap.
I don't think it's possible for us to build like some type of like direct antithesis to this, but I think that there has to be a counterweight to it because it's really frustrating that we're always on the reactive side
And
whereas,
not on the proactive side.
Yeah, and like I think there is a world in which we can do the exact same thing that they did. Like have voter guides at the very least.
And I think like I like what you're saying about it's not about being reactive, it's about being proactive because I feel like a lot of what the left and I don't even want to say the left, the center, like the very centrist people are doing are like, well, we're not that. We're not that. We're not that. They're crazy and we're not that. I think there should be a group, maybe like, and let's be less gendered about it, like Parents for Justice, who have actual things they want to put into schools. And we can capitalize on those parents' fears. Like that part, I think, like they're cooking. They're cooking with gas on that.
Well, we have a lot of that. We have like Parents Together as an org, and they work with AFT, which is the teachers union, and NEA. Like the unions are on top of it. There's a lot of orgs doing a lot of good work, but where the hell is their infrastructure support the way that Moms for Liberty was propped up by the GOP?
And like all of those great people doing great and ethical work, I'm so proud of you. I want to lie and I want to manipulate. And I want to create Parents for Justice where I'm like, these tyrants are trying to take the crayons away from your children.
No, but
and we are funding it.
They kind of are because they get
Because
on
I'm
this
not-
thing with empathy and communal supplies. They're pissed that you're sharing supplies because it's teaching communism. Like they literally don't want your kids to have supplies.
I want to use their strategy of like trigger language and emotional language to bring in physical supplies to schools, to bring in more social workers, to reduce class sizes. Like you can be like, tyrants want to oppress your children by depriving them of one-on-one attention. That's why Parents for Justice are fighting for a class size cap of 15. And that is our children's rights. And I will not have my children oppressed by these large group environments.
That's her org. It's like write it down. Get a board.
Literally.
Get a board. We'll do the paperwork right after this. I mean, like I think yes, why not? But like also it's like I think that Moms for Liberty came about at a time when like we were all crazy, like you said.
Yeah, people were crazy, people were desperate, people were scared. And fear is
it's a big motivator.
Fear can get people to do
a lot.
Yeah. A lot. Positive, negative, bad, good. Like fear is a very strong pusher in people. And fear makes people act.
And we were also like lonely. And I think that like there is a social capital aspect of this too, where it's like people yearn for third spaces. Like they don't want to, the college campuses who are giving food and like, a place to hang.
The thing that pisses me off is that like In some ways, all of this is so complicated, but then in other ways, it is so simple, where that if you literally just give like a college organization $1,000 to feed their members in multiple meetings, that will actually create activists for life.
And
that like a lot of investment feels so stupid, but is actually so important.
And think about like when you think about evangelical Christianity, I was a Catholic who my mom got so pissed because the non-denominational church was always inviting me to youth group, to hang out, eat, play. Like, and I thought that was the coolest shit ever. And then just every once in a while, they'd be like, and now let us pray, children, or talk about this Bible story. Like I was just there, and then they just had their beliefs that were floating around. But we don't have an opposite version of that.
I think I just had the best idea anyone's ever had.
Okay.
Do you know about the bread recruitment strategy in churches?
No.
I don't know if this is a thing widespread or just at this one specific church, but my mom told me about this, where this church would, very common for churches to have greeters. Mm-hmm. And then if they notice someone they've never seen before, they'll be like, hey, have you ever been here? And the greeters will kind of be like, oh, if you need the restroom, whatever. That's not weird at all. What this church does that is like actually so genius is they have like fresh baked bread, like their members like make bread, and the greeters give a loaf of bread to any new family that comes, or any new individual that comes to this church. And they say, oh, we just like to welcome anyone and give them some of this fresh bread. But then you're walking around with bread. So every other person sees that you're new and makes an intentional point to be very nice and welcoming to you. And then you're like, oh my God, these people are so nice. So it's like a way to signify like, hey, that's a newbie. Let's get their ass in here.
Right.
So I think maybe that's what we should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like food is actually so important.
It is.
We forget we're animals at the end of the day.
Yes. And like lonely animals who like, it's just like these comfort things that they do really, really well.
They're
that capitalizing. People will be like, we can use that money for something else. Okay, but like look at the long game. Let's not look at what's being done directly in front of our faces. Let's look at what could happen if we invest in people, if we invest in giving them a place to go and making it so that it's like, you know, why aren't we having an opportunity for like group chats and people who are making friends and
it's
doing stuff
Maslow's
together.
hierarchy of need. Like they are literally capitalizing on Maslow's hierarchy of need of like people need food, shelter, safety, security, and they're providing that to people. Mm-hmm. And then I don't really know what we're doing over here, but like
no, it's so frustrating because a lot of people, when I bring up stuff like this, they'll be like, well, that's so frivolous. We don't need that. We could spend that money on clothing people or doing this or doing that. And it's like, yes, absolutely. But also we need to be building infrastructure and making people feel connected, because I think the right has their hat, their group chats, their Facebook groups, they're in lockstep. They have a goal. Like they have all of the stuff that makes it very, very easy for them to spot each other and connect.
Yes.
And we don't. And we do a lot of times like making people feel like they already have to be perfect or in order to join. And it's like
it's a lot of like gatekeeping and a lot of like
you have to be smart. No, you don't.
I really hate like the purity politics of it all.
Yeah.
Like if you like say one thing or do one thing, it can feel there's a lot of infighting, and I feel like sometimes it turns into like who can be like the most perfect and ethical rather than being like how can we be the most inclusive and include people and make it very, very accessible. I think a lot of political spaces, especially on the left, are deeply inaccessible because like you said, if you don't have like a background in this, and I think people are really quick to label someone as uneducated.
Oh, they tell me that all the time. They're like, were you a teacher? Yeah, but I don't fucking know anything about congressional budgets. Shut up.
Yeah, and I think it's so, they're like, oh, they're uneducated. And like, that is just so deeply unhelpful. That person is probably just educated differently than you. And this is something me and Mr. Redacted talk a lot about because we are both like what I would say like equivalent in education. We both have a bachelor's and a master's, but our educations were so different. His is finance, and then mine has been sociology and teaching. So like just so different. And we always laugh about like some things that are so obvious to me are like so foreign to him and vice versa. And something we've both asked each other is like, what were you doing in college? It's like I'll not know things. And he's like, well, what were they teaching you? And then he'll not know things. And I'm like, what do you mean they never taught you this?
Yeah, it's wild, the education gap. And it's like,
And I think rather than just valuing like, oh, maybe this person doesn't know these things, and instead of being like, that means they know other things and that's actually more valuable.
Yeah.
A lot of people be like, oh, they're less valuable because they don't know, when that's not the case.
And at first, like for a while, I would think like, well, Moms for Liberty has a common enemy and that unifies people too. But we feel like the enemy is over there, but also within our ranks too. Like it's like we're trying to root out the secret, sneaky enemy. But then it's like, I get really irritated when politicians just say, I'm going to be hard on Donald Trump. Our enemy is Donald Trump. And
I
I'm
hate
like,
that shit.
It's like
that quote from, I'm actually about to get emotional right now. You know that quote from Rent where they're like, the opposite of war isn't love, it's creation?
yeah.
I think like the opposite, stop. Like
I love Rent.
It's really good. But also like, why did they think they just didn't have to pay rent? Like,
I know,
like,
the
sorry,
privilege of it all.
But anyway, like the opposite of fighting the right is not to be fighting. The opposite of fighting the right is to create something better. And just being like, not that, they're wrong, they're wrong, they're wrong, they're wrong. Being like, Moms for Liberty is wrong, the right is wrong, the Republicans are wrong, wrong. That is not making us a better society. What is actually going to be better is if we like create something better, like we said, like have actual policies and not just I'm not them, and include people in that vision.
Yeah, we have to. And I mean, we've been yapping for a really long time, but
So we're going to make moms or parents for justice, or not even parents. Like I'll think of something. Blank for justice.
she'll get it. Don't
We're
worry.
close. It's like we're getting there. We're getting there.
I love it.
Patriots for justice.
They love the word patriot. Write that down.
Patriots for justice, and we are saving your children from the oppressive nature of off-brand crayons.
There you go. Well, we can end this. That's it. Like, share, subscribe, you guys.